Not yet. It's not yet.
Said it is. There we go. And it should be coming over here now. Come on, Instagram.
Oh, you're frozen.
I'm
Oh, there you
frozen.
are. There you are.
All right, now where we're messing is Instagram. Come on, kids. Come on, go live, go live, go live. Well, if they don't come on, they don't come on. That's what we'll do. But it says we're live here in good old Facebook land, right? And
Oh, yep,
Instagram.
we are now.
Okay. And we're missing Instagram. Come on.
Oops.
Oh, well, we'll just not worry about them. All righty. Well, good evening. Hello, young lady.
Hello.
Hello there, young lady.
Hello.
It's great to see you. And here it is, Sunday night. We're going to do a kind of an abbreviated show tonight, in about 30 minutes. But the real question here is, who ever told you that brain fog's normal? I mean, who told you that forgetting names is just part of getting older? I mean,
Everybody.
yeah, and who told you that Alzheimer's is just your fate? I mean, who told you? Because what really if you've been hoodwinked? What if it's not age? What if your brain is failing because it doesn't have enough energy? Not because you aren't eating enough. Good Lord. I mean, what's the size of the planet in terms of poundage, right? But what is the quality of the fuel? And is it getting to where it needs to go? And so maybe, just maybe, your body is starved, poisoned, inflamed by your metabolism based on the source that we're getting. So if you've ever worried or wondered about your memory, type me in the chat. Would you just go ahead and let us know if that's you? So we're going to talk tonight a lot about brain energy, brain fog, causation of what happens in the real world when things go awry. And tonight we have my favorite two ladies of the week, my guests over the time. We have Cheryl, who is now going by the handle of the Thriving at 80 with Cheryl. Thriving at 80 with Cheryl. Because you know why? She's 80. She's actually more than 80, but not 81. So, but she's thriving. So we're going to talk about that with her story about her identical twin. And we're also going to talk with our best friend from down by Fort Lauderdale area, with Jennifer, who has been a caregiver for her parents, both parents, for now 4 years.
Going on 4 years, yes.
Going on 4 years. So, guys, we're going to talk about those things. If you have any questions, go ahead and send them to us in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. But this is real life, real stories. And every week we come together, we talk about these things because it's real. And it deals with metabolism. No matter what anybody tries to tell you, it's not a function of old age. It's not, it used to be old age, because of the timeline of food. Okay. But it's not that anymore. Because if it was Alzheimer's, Lou syndrome, those would not be coming down at younger ages, would they? And it would stay up at the 80, 90s. Would not you, but it would stay up there, wouldn't it? Like me. I mean, my mom turns 97. Here the 21st, right? 21st, 19th, or maybe it's the 19th. But anyway, she turns 97 in the next week or so. So, guys, what we really want to talk about and look at these things is real stories. Now, I'm going to turn the floor to Cheryl. She's going to Cheryl, tell us a little bit about your sister and kind of what went on there.
Okay, I had an identical twin sister, Sharon. We looked alike, we acted alike, we finished each other's sentences. We were just so close. She was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's when she was 54 years old. She passed when she was 61. And that was when she got that diagnosis, it was one of the worst days of my life. I just could not believe it. I mean, that's the last thing we expected.
And she was 54?
Uh-huh. 54. I mean, such a young age. We didn't know why. We lived basically in the same town, a few miles away. Our lifestyles were basically the same, but she had a little bit more stress in her life than I did. So I don't know. I know that has something to do with it. And she ate right. I mean, she ate normal like I did. She was good, very good cook. It was just unbelievable that she would have that at such an early age, because I knew that you could die from Alzheimer's. Some people don't realize that, and that was the first thing they said. Well, my mom said, well, she's not gonna die. And I said, yes, Mom, she will. Because they quit talking, they quit eating, they quit swallowing, they don't know how to function. And she died. I was by her side. I knew, and we were so close, I knew what day she was going to die. I have a picture down here. We're in the basement right now. I have a picture down here. And I was sitting down here. George was doing some stuff down here. And I was sitting down here the other night, and I just kept looking at the picture. I said, oh my God, how beautiful was she? And it makes me sad. It really does. It's just like I lost half of my whole when she died. We were so close that we would finish each other's sentences. We would send each other the same birthday card. We sent our mom the same birthday card, not knowing until like my mom told us. We always spent our birthdays together because it was just a special bond that we shared. We had our own language.
And you're not just twins, you're mirror twins.
Yeah. Mirror twins usually means that one is left-handed, one's right. Well, Sharon was left-handed, but in those days, schools did not like that, so they made you change to your right if you were left. And she had beautiful handwriting. And sometimes they say, and I don't know in my case or our case, that the organs are on the opposite side of the body. But she had true Alzheimer's. When she died, her brain was sent to Harvard, and plaques and tangles, and it was true Alzheimer's. And that's what you say you really can't tell until after death, if that happens. So that's one thing we wanted to do, and her daughter's mother-in-law made that happen in a very short time. And I thank her for it. But yeah,
And the treatments and things that we're told, they were diagnosed, and in 2022 they came up with the studies that found the fact that the theory of tangles and cause and that kind of thing was actually fraud or fake, and it fell into the push of all the medication that's been used. So you would think I don't know, wouldn't you think if the medications worked that there'd be less? If the medications work, wouldn't there be less suffering? If the medications work, wouldn't it stay as an old person's? Wouldn't it?
Well, when the medication of Aricept came out, we were so hopeful, but did nothing.
And now you're an awesome 80. I mean, come on, you don't want to accept the phrase pristine. I get that. But
Far from pristine.
what are you doing to be so conscious of your health and your energy levels and things? What are you doing?
Well, I've always had a lot of energy, although I get worn out faster. I worked in the yard all day yesterday and I'm so sore. Last night I could hardly move, but I started the protocol, Unamonte, just because of that. I wanted to stay healthy at my age. I don't want to end up like she did. And then take a balance before a meal, my biggest meal of the day. I'm on only really 2 meds, Synthroid for my thyroid, and that's a very low dose. And I have a Prolia shot for my bones every 6 months. And that's basically all I take, and except a nasal spray once in a while for my allergies. But I feel very fortunate at my age to only be on that.
Yeah, and to put that in perspective, hey Kim, great seeing you tonight. Steve, Scott, Joy, nice, thanks for coming on board. But you just had your blood work done.
Yeah.
And what was your blood glucose level?
I forget.
78? I think it was 78.
And I've had a parathyroid that had been acting up for what, 3 years now?
Something like that.
Was high. And the first thing the doctor said when I went in the room, she said, out of her mouth, she hadn't even met me.
Yeah.
She said, do you want it out? And I said, no.
And I looked at the doc and go, what out? I mean, what? We had sat down in the room and she came in and said, hi, when do you want it out? And I'm looking at what out? And
said, no, I don't. And I have fought my regular GP on this too, because that was what he wanted to do. So it went down and then it went up a little. And then now it's been staying within normal ranges.
Yeah. And mentally, you're sharp as yesterday and tomorrow.
Some days.
Some days. Most days. But that's the whole thing. So one of the things we really want to make people understand is that Alzheimer's is a real disease. It can be averted. It can be helped. It can be improved naturally. Studies after studies after studies are starting to come out more and more. But the reliance upon pharmaceuticals, and I'm not against pharmaceuticals, but just reliance on them is a profit center. I mean, my dad, he was a doctor. My dad always said, follow the money, right? Follow the money.
Well, when I was at the doctor a week ago,
yeah,
he said we had the flu shot, and I said no. And I wouldn't take it because I got really sick 2 years in a row by taking it. He said, oh, that's just for a few days. No, it didn't. It lasted like a month with me. And I wouldn't take the COVID shot because of that reason. And they want to push stuff on, and you have to make up your own mind about your own health. And that's how I decided to look at life.
Yeah. And when you were watching Karen's progression, what was that like?
It was horrible. The doctor said from Mayo, when she was diagnosed, that she could be in a nursing home in 4 years. And I thought, no way. Well, she was. She really was. It happened so fast. We would get together every Christmas, did cookies, her daughter, my daughter, and we all took our own ingredients, and she had a big kitchen, so we'd all make our own batches and bake them, and then we'd all put them on a big table and split all the cookies up. The last time she tried it, she was getting so frustrated because she would dump something in the bowl, and she couldn't remember what she dumped in and what she didn't. She said, I just can't do it anymore. And it went from that to just like progressively, she couldn't do her hair. She couldn't clean her house. I was cleaning her house for her, because she was an immaculate housekeeper. And her house was starting to get, her husband said, Sharon can't do this anymore. And the house is starting to look like it. So I go out there every week and I clean for her. And just things like that. She couldn't pick out clothes for herself. Yeah, it just progressed so fast.
And what did it do for you? What did it do to you physically, mentally?
Mentally, that's all I could think about. And I started grieving the day that she was diagnosed.
And you were with her, right, when she was diagnosed on that trip?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She had gone to Mayo the week before and they did a lot of tests. And her husband told me, came home on a Friday night and she was up there all week. Her husband said, and we were at a birthday party for her son at the time, the 30th birthday party. And he said to me that night, he said, do you want to go to Mayo with us next week? He said, they're looking at dementia. And I about fell apart right there. Unbelievable. But it was a long 4 years. Her husband, he sold racehorses. They had horses, sold racehorses. So he was on the road a couple days a week, not every single week, but she would come to my house and stay. And I quit. Well, we had a family business, so I backed off from the family business at that time, just so I could help take care of her, and I don't regret it one bit. And I knew what day she was going to die. That's how close we were. I knew the day she was going to die.
Did it wear on your body at all? Or did you
mentally, yes, it did. Mentally, yeah. We tried to be as happy as we could. It was hard.
Yeah.
We did the same things. We always had Thanksgiving out at her house and
try to keep everything normal.
Yeah.
Try to keep
it's hard.
Yeah. So So it's a slow.
That disease is called the long goodbye.
It's a long goodbye. And Jennifer's living with her parents. And Jennifer, what's this kind of, in a broad sense, what's going on with mom and dad?
Well, as you know, this is a new week, and I'm finding that every week I have something different to share on this journey. For those of you that don't know, I am a caregiver full-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for two people with cognitive decline. My mother is also legally blind and primarily uses a wheelchair. My father is on 2 Alzheimer's meds and has pre-diabetes along with high cholesterol. So just from that intro, there are in excess of 15 different pills that are administered every day. Right now I'm on a rotation of about 15 eye drops for my mom.
Wow.
And I also work a full-time job, and I share with you fine people. So this week's adventure, since for me anymore, it is an adventure.
Right.
I have completed my parents' taxes. That has been taken care of. They are slowly going through the process of, we have too much furniture. That is a thing. I've been continuing to go through their paperwork that has been accumulating over their 55 plus years of being married. And my father was the executor for many people that have already passed in our family. So I'm finding things from back then. But I watched a video this week, a webinar on long-term care insurance. And what that is different people in the world will sign themselves up for long-term care insurance. And what that ends up covering is items outside of insurance and outside of Medicaid or Medicare. So in the sense that you may have to be in a facility in later in life and are unable to care for yourself, and your family members are unable to care for you for safety reasons for themselves or yourself,
Right.
it will cover a certain amount of dollars. So as a caregiver, an unpaid caregiver, somebody in my position, if it was a paying position, would be making in excess of $100,000 a year. The long-term care insurance also covers 100,000 plus, depending on the type that you get.
Yep.
And that was not something that I knew. So of course I had to ask the question, and the responses I get to questions are, I'm not sure, or I don't think so. So if you are caring for somebody with, you notice that they're becoming more forgetful, or that you're pretty confident that there's Alzheimer's, dementia, one, I would suggest you go and get them checked if they're willing to go. I've scheduled a follow-up for mom to do the 1.5, 2 hour conversation testing,
Okay.
because it has become more repetitious.
Mhm.
And I personally didn't notice it. I know she repeats a lot, but I had one of our good friends, Keith, come and stay for a couple days to help me with my car.
Right.
And he was the one that brought it to my attention. He said, Mom repeated herself quite a bit more than Dad did.
Mm.
And Dad's the one that's on the 2 meds.
Isn't it
So,
amazing that when we're in the environment, it becomes we become comfortably numb, as
yes,
a song would be, because that
yeah.
it's familiar, and so it doesn't stand out.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone comes from the outside,
Yeah.
you may notice those types of things, right? Right.
Right.
That's kind of how that works.
Well, my mother did not. She kept saying that, oh, I think Sharon's doing great. And I said, no, Mom, she isn't. Because she didn't see what we saw.
Yeah.
Dad did that for a very long time. And at
Yeah.
times he would repeatedly say, she's sharp as a tack.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
she's not.
Yeah. With Mom, of course, Mom turns 97 here in a few weeks, but I remember at one time sitting there at Sunday lunch with her, and Cheryl, I go, Mom's talking, goes, now she goes and she prefaces this, okay? I know that they're dead, talking about her mom and dad. I know they're dead and they're in the cemetery, but do you think they get hungry? So normal conversation until, and that. So let me ask, one of the things there's with caregivers, Jennifer, there's what's called an invisible weight.
Yes, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And describe that.
And the best way for me to describe it is I am grieving for the living.
Right. Right.
I see them every day, all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really want to see is the joy and the fun and the funny, the things that I remember my parents as.
Right.
But I don't see that. I see withdrawal. I see depression. I see frustration. I see anger.
Right.
On top of the repeat, which is very heavy. I am also, I have a younger sibling, and I am doing this alone. So another part of my weight, I go in and out of resentment.
Sure.
And I, they come over once a weekend, they hang out for a few hours like they did today. I go run an errand. So I'm just away. I don't have to worry for an hour.
Right.
But I come back in and they're walking out the door. I'm starting dinner and I continue.
Right.
So it's not really a respite, is it?
No.
It's just
My
a
my
planned.
respite is when I sleep.
It's a planned. It's a planned errand day. It's not like, oh, I get to go
Right.
out and walk in the park, and me and the dogs and the parrots get to chat. No, it's I get to go
Yeah.
to the store and get things we need to have in the warehouse for the week. Is that about right?
Yes. Yes. And then, tomorrow's Monday. So I've got multiple calls to make. I've got, some with financial institutions. I've got some with medical professionals on top of the job, on top of continuing to take care of myself and my two elderly animals.
Now let's go back to the one thing I remember uh, prior to you starting on the 2-step 3-step protocol reset that we did.
Mhm.
You noticed that you were starting to slip mentally.
Yes, yes. My brain fog when it all started, it was I misplaced my phone. I misplaced my keys. I misplaced my list. As I moved into caregiving, it became so severe that I was putting my 80 and 83-year-old parents' medical appointments on the wrong week and the wrong day. And some appointments my father has gone to multiple times over the years, so it's like a repeat. So he knows where he's going, he knows how to get there, and I'm comfortable with him doing that. But when it's 45 minutes both ways, that's a
Right.
problem.
Right.
And when they show up a week early and they say, "Oh, you're a week early," and they come home and say, "You put it on the calendar wrong," and I'm like, "What do you mean? What did I do?" But I did that repeatedly. And once I started the protocol, within a few weeks, the cloudiness was gone.
And you're what,
Which for me,
38?
oh, you're adorable. I am a very, very
Hear
proud
that? I'm
51.
adorable. Make note of
You
that.
are adorable. I am a very proud 51-year-old woman.
Perfect.
There was a time in my life that I did not believe that I would live to be this long, so this old. So I'm very proud of myself. I started this on June 7th of last year when I was 50. Um, I'm coming up on a year on the protocol, and no brain fog, no high cholesterol, no insomnia. I mean, I'm down 39 pounds. I have the body I had when I started high school.
Great.
So,
Congratulations. And the interesting thing about it is that over this time, as your health, mental health, physical health is improving, your
mhm,
mental well-being is improving,
yes.
the what would have been stress before, is it lighter? Is it more manageable? Is what's the how would you correlate that shift? While
It's
you're
definite.
improving, you're in an environment that's not improving, but you're able to manage it better?
Over a period of time, yes. When I first started, no, I was still, my body was still adjusting. It was still working through all of the metabolic dysfunction. I had very bad gut health, which also, that's where your serotonin is made in your gut. And, I was on an anxiety pill and a depression pill. And it wasn't until my mom said, after I'd been, on the protocol for a while, and with the doctor's permission, I was moving off of the antidepressant. She said, "I haven't seen you this happy in a really long time."
Great.
So for me, things became more manageable. My mood improved. My mental clarity improved. Dad says I shouldn't drink the tea because I have too much energy.
Love it. I
you know,
love it. Well, we're coming up on the bottom of the hour, and we said we'd only be a 30-minute deal to keep everybody uh, in honor of all that. But what is it that you would want to tell people, and what would you want to tell people about mental health, energy, and the protocol?
one, that it's in the physician's digital reference. It is something that doctors can prescribe, and it is a nutraceutical, which means it's completely plant-based, and it has a 90-day money-back guarantee. And we know a lot of people that have marked it on their calendar, day 85, and then
88 for me.
and they've looked back at the course of that journey, and be an advocate for yourself.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, and if you'd like to learn more, there's a link to Jennifer right there on the screen, and she'll be happy just to answer the questions if you have any. And Cheryl, what would you say based on now your experience and with your parents, and of course my mom, and there's a whole nother story, but what would, and your health, and I'm 74 and you're 80, so we don't think we're old. I don't think I'm old. I don't. Jennifer's, I'm worth 30 years more than her, but
Well, I just want to stay as healthy as I am now.
Mhm.
I've always been fairly healthy all my life. I've taken care of myself. I go to the
and she
doctor.
doesn't eat sticks and twigs, guys. And do you work at the gym? Do you
No.
go out at the gym and work out?
I used to exercise all the time. My thing is walking, but haven't been able to. This stupid weather here is up and down, up and down. But I walk behind the lawnmower. I do all my own yard work. I walk behind the lawnmower, and then I get out. That's why I love being in my yard. I get the exercise, a mental clarity. My husband passed away. It'll be 13 years this month. And my yard kept me going that year. If he would have passed in the winter, I probably would have gone nuts. I could get out there. I could basically relax. I think it was my therapy. It was my therapy, and I still look at it that way.
Yeah, you do.
Unless it's ungodly hot and I'm behind that mower, then I don't.
But guys, if you really want to get with some calm, with some strength, with some peace, with the ability to sleep at night, with the ability to have more energy and not have brain fog.
I do sleep better too.
You
I
do.
really do.
She does. And not have to get up at night, couple, 3-4 times, so your hair doesn't fall out, guys. I'm just telling you, it's just how it is. Let's raise your hand, let us know. Cheryl will be happy to get you some more information on the protocol. It's very, very simple, very easy. But we'll be back next week. We're going to have some fun stories that we try to do some different things, because I'm the oddball on this whole mess that I've got. I mean, mom is just so you know, mom at 97 has had hospice for now 2 years. It was almost probably 2 years we've been doing that. Like, it's supposed to be. And originally there was all kinds of nurses coming in all the time. Now we're down to one visit. Now 2 years later, we're down to one visit a week from the hospice.
Although she is bedridden.
She is bedridden, but she doesn't want to be, but she is. But there we go. But that's how it goes. It's real. And so we experience it from every different angle. And we want to share with you questions, want to share with you our stories. I love you both to schmithereens and back. I appreciate you both coming in and sharing your time. And get on and have a great week. And you have a great week. And I'll have a great week too. So thanks for coming on board. If you have any questions, send them off. Have a great night. Thanks. Bye now.
Bye.
See ya.
Nice to see you. So, who's that gal that said